we go.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order. I guess we'll go around and say who we are just for the recording. I'm Judy McKinley Brewer.
I'm Ted Zevert.
Bonnie Germini.
Tom Page, Greg Agostino, John Cushman.
Okay. And if you ask questions, remember to say your name so that it gets onto the recording. People know who's talking. Okay, we don't have any minutes to review tonight, so we will put that on hold. And the first issue is Bedrock Financial. This is lot 8, so this is just the one small lot we did first before we did that big section. There was like 7 and 8 right at the end of it, next to the cemetery. And, oh good, Barney can give you a map. 2019.
That might have been something I didn't think of.
Yeah, so they're up for renewal to extend. We can extend them another 3 years or anywhere down to 1 year.
Here's one more.
I'm recommending that we do 3 years because by using the tolling, do you all know what the tolling is? Everybody understand the tolling rules?
No.
Probably not.
Okay, so if you had a permit underway, you know, in action when the COVID emergency was announced and it's active now, you automatically get 462 days added to your permit. And there's actually a little calculator so you can go in and it'll do it for you so you don't have to count the months and all that stuff. So by tolling, he would have another year, but he's just going to go ahead and get the extension. So I really think we should just go ahead and give him the.
And this is what it would bring it to.
It would bring it to 11/4/2025. Yeah,
It hasn't started renewing.
I don't know.
No.
I don't
No,
go
I
up
don't
there
think
much,
so.
so I don't
He
know.
has, I believe that he hasn't yet put in the permanent markers, or if he has, nobody's gone to see them.
Right.
So what I want to recommend is that we have the original order of conditions with one condition emphasized, which is that we won't give him the extension until we get the GPS markings and somebody goes out to see it. And the GPS markings can be a list on the map. It could be, as long as we have them somewhere.
Well, they are marked on the map.
They're marked on the map, they're just not GPSed. And as far as I know, nobody's been out there to see it. Okay. So, as far as I know, there wasn't anything else unusual other than the lolly columns or other permanent markers.
Yeah, it hasn't put those in? Is that what you're saying, or has?
He's got them marked on the map, nobody's been out to see them, so
Okay, so we don't know if they're
for all
actually
intents and purposes, they're not there. So we need to make sure that's there before we go forward. Any other questions? Do both of you know where we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions from the visitors? Okay, can I get a motion?
So I'll make a motion to extend that.
Okay, this is, extend it, okay. Mass DEP 1730226. parcel 14,008,000. Go ahead.
What you said.
You can second it.
Okay. Is there a second to extend this for 3 years?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passes.
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
John,
Thank you.
Take a second to sign it.
yeah.
Oh,
you
I'm
can.
sorry, I'm
It's okay.
adding people in. Where am I?
Well,
Get a black pen there.
No, then I'll lose my writer. Here, I'll steal his. Okay, the hearing is closed for Bedrock.
Where's the front page?
Did I steal his? This must be yours.
Oh, yeah, my scribbles.
Is it all signed? Has everybody signed?
Yep.
Okay.
Really.
All right, we're going to open the hearing for 530 Glendale Road, continuation. You can come sit up here if you like to. Okay, this is a hearing for parcel 29,016,000 and 005. DEP number 1730233 at 530 Glendale Road. An abbreviated notice of resource area delineation. And I got a notice last week that they've finished one team visit to the site for field verifications. They do, they look at the plants that are growing there. They look at the to make sure that the slopes and things like that all match. They do soil cores. They do all this, look for mean annual high water lines. They look where the river has flowed up to, and the wetlands have flowed up to, and other similar things. And they will be going back in the next couple of days for the second team field review. That will put them about halfway through the peer review process that they proposed. So what's left is they go back, they make their own maps. They make or revise their revisions of the map. They write a report, and then they hold a field review meeting to which we're invited, in fact, required to go. The consultant for the applicant will go, and it would be okay for residents to go. If residents go, you have to be sure you don't they're going to be discussing things, so then they're going to be needing to, like if there's any place where the peer reviewer differs from the map that was presented, the two consultants usually need to kind of stand there and show each other their evidence and work it out. You know, they don't have to come to an agreement. We can make that decision, but it's better if they have time on site to do that. So if you go, you just don't want to be interrupting their conversations. But you're perfectly welcome to show up. They will let us know when that is. No, that's not set yet. After they have the maps and the report and everything done, then they'll set a time with the consultant, and then they'll let us know when that is. So that entails at least 2 more weeks for the actual write-up and maps and everything, and another week for the site visit at least, and then maybe revising the maps, and all of that will come to us, and then we get to read all of that and write orders of conditions. So that takes a little bit longer. So looking at all of that, Rory Walker of 0 Point Energy has agreed to a continuation. That would be to our next regular meeting. So that's July 20th. He's already pre-signed the form because he couldn't be here tonight by email. So what we're going to propose is a continuation from tonight, June 15th, 2022, to July 20th, 2022. And the presumption is, barring all of the team falling ill or some other thing, which can happen, that night we will be reviewing all the materials. Anything to add?
No, I think that, no, that's it.
Okay.
I'll send it
Okay.
out in the morning to him.
Thank you. So can I get a motion?
I make a motion to extend.
Continue.
Continue. Glendale Solar to July 20th.
At 6 p.m. A second?
I'll second.
Ted?
I
Ted
second.
seconded? All in favor?
Who motion? I'm sorry.
The motion
I
is,
did.
yes, Tom did.
Thank you.
No opposed? Okay. Motion passes. Oh, I guess you only need 1 copy. We don't need 2. Do you want 2 copies? So you don't have to make a copy of it?
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
Sign both.
Yeah, I'll send it as it comes back. Okay. Do you have any questions?
We're signing the continuation day or today?
Oh, jeez. Good thing we have 2, huh? You are right.
well, just do the second one and, or did you sign on both?
No. But you can send it back.
No, another one if you want to clean one.
Thank you for noticing,
We need some
Ted.
copies.
I have to sign it, don't
Oh,
I?
yes.
Because I didn't sign it, I found it and gave it back to you.
Okay, questions?
Of course, I have a question. I'm Gina Stabillo. My question is, instead of normally dry, is that going to affect Ty and Bond's timeline for this at all?
Only if they declare a drought.
Okay, so how does that work?
We are considered abnormally dry. Near the east, there are sections that have been declared a drought.
Okay,
They can't do wetlands delineations of certain kinds during a drought.
okay.
But since they've already been there once, my guess is that they've already passed that
They
point.
they overcame that obstacle.
I'm guessing.
Okay.
Yeah. If DEP declares a drought, they send us an official notice and an
Oh,
official
okay.
date. So, and usually things that are done right around the date of declaration, they exempt. So they're probably going to be under that
Okay.
deadline, even if they did it tomorrow. It does affect things, especially if you want to declare a stream intermittent.
Right.
You have to see it not running for 4 days in a row, and you can't do that during a drought. You can't get that observation. Anything else? No.
Yeah, we are. Per
Yeah,
capita,
I believe it.
yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. I think it's not under our control. The head of the planning board and the select board made a certain determination about what kinds of things we could and couldn't do. I mean, the state government made a very broad declaration that towns couldn't do anything unreasonable to stop a solar installation. And up until very recently, our planning board took the broadest view of that. And it would be the planning board that would have made that decision. We have a new planning board, so I don't know what they'll do. This part won't go to them, but after this comes the notice of intent with the actual structural facility on it and the stormwater and all of that, that will go to the planning board, and that will be part of their decision. They can decide well, they can make the requirements they want, and then if the applicant doesn't like those requirements, they could appeal to the government that they were unreasonable, and then that would be up to DEP or to the governor, to the attorney general, I guess, to decide if it was unreasonable. That hasn't ever happened yet. So I think a lot of what happened, just if you want my opinion, is the developers looked to the small communities and they realized they don't have as highly developed bylaws. They don't have paid, some cities have many paid commission members, as well as assistants and consultants and planning board members and all of that. So they just directed themselves straight to those locations. And there are a lot of them in Court Long Meadows in court now, East Long Meadows in court now. Because even though they made rules and enforced the rules, like they made a rule in East Long Meadow that you had to be in an industrial area, they took them to court and said the industrial area is too small, so that was unreasonable. So it is a little bit difficult to overcome the governor's rule. So that's why we are where we are, not because this commission particularly, I mean, I'm an advocate of solar, I just think there's places you should put it. On tops of big boxes and brown sites and residences, I think are better places. But that's my opinion, that's not something I can enforce.
And you gotta realize that Conservation Commission, all we can do is protect the wetland. What they do beyond that, we have absolutely no voice.
I was just asking for exactly that. And I feel the same. I am solar, but I just find it spitting.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. One good way to prevent that and going into the future is to propose new bylaws. You know, that any reasonable bylaw can be put in that would, you know, sizes or locations, or as long as it's a reasonable limitation. So I would address the selectmen with proposed bylaws if you can think of good ones. Because it won't necessarily stop just because we've got a lot of them. All right. Okay, we'll close the hearing. All right, and Great Horse has informed us that they're going to be spraying their ponds tomorrow. They've only done this 3 times, I think, since we gave them the permit originally. They've been very limited in when they spray. They haven't done it annually.
Well,
They
they've been
skipped a couple of years.
They've been coming in and inspecting, but this is the first time
Yeah.
they're actually going to.
They inspect and they send us a list, if they do spray, they send a list of what they sprayed at the end of the year. But they really have done much less spraying than I expected. I figured they'd be maxing it out, but they really haven't. It isn't Great Horse that's making that determination, it's that the company, Solitude Lake Management, and they're far more conservative, I think. Yeah, I think they're a pretty good company. But they do send us that file every November if people want to know what they sprayed there. They send us an Excel sheet essentially with what they've sprayed, when, where, how much. And then they're supposed to take a little review at the end of the year of the vegetation in each lake and the wildlife in each lake so that we know if it's changed a lot. They're mostly spraying for algae and for very invasive plant growth. So what we want to know is just that nothing else is disappearing, like the ducks and the turtles and the fish.
If you don't know, the state made them put in 3 test wells that I know of, 2 at Thornton Burgess, 1 at the senior center, so the state could monitor the water.
They have a whole series of them on the course itself.
Maybe on the course too, but
Oh, really?
there are some on town sites in order to watch the water, as so whatever they're doing at the country club, they can monitor the water source.
They're all on the Raven Drive side, the whole
Yeah.
series of them.
Yeah, but there's 2 at the school.
We weren't able to do that, but that came through the water quality certification, which is called 401, and there's a whole nother agency that does that. So, yeah, they are keeping track of it in several ways.
What they're using to spray.
We do have a list of it. I don't know it in my head.
Nothing contains any PFAS.
No PFAS. And in fact, we got a peer review consultant. We got SWCA to come in and to review all the materials they were using. And they had aquageologists who figured out how far it might get in the bedrock and that sort of thing, and when it would break down, because we were concerned about like the wells on Pinewood, whatever that is. And a couple of other things like that, and they determined that it wouldn't go that far. So,
I think Old Knoll was concerned.
yeah, Oaknall was also concerned. So, yeah, we talked about testing wells and things, and their determination after a lot of reviewing was that it wasn't necessary, that it was extremely unlikely that it would get out of Great Horse and into somebody's well around. And we were especially concerned, obviously, about the school, because there's a public well there. And there was a sensitive person that lives along the edge there somewhere that was also a concern. So there will be spraying, and if anybody wants to be a commission person to go watch them spray, Ted's done it a couple times. They're very careful, so we don't always send somebody. And they will send us a report.
I can't tomorrow because I already got two things for
Yeah, you're
tomorrow.
pretty busy.
I always go somewhere, if I see it when I'm at home.
Yeah,
What if you're doing Monday?
Yeah, Monday, the 20th.
is it Monday?
Oh,
Oh,
Monday, oh.
okay, I'm sorry, I thought it was tomorrow.
I see it. Okay, right there, yeah. Excuse me, but I-
Yeah, and they're very congenial.
No, I
They don't mind if you come.
do it all the time.
The problem is that they don't give you time,
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
have
I
to.
know.
so you have to
That's what
kind
I'm
of guess
saying.
when they're going to be
If
there.
I see them out there, I want to know.
Yeah.
Okay. I received a revision to the regulations today that's not a particular note to us because we don't have any of those cases right now, but they made a minor revision to the regulations about herbicide spraying and resource areas along rail lines. We don't have any that I know of right now, but if somebody applies for that or we're doing that, there's a different way now of determining where the wetlands are and that sort of thing. They mostly have been using maps. And now they actually have to have somebody go out there and do that. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I thought a lot about what Andrew said last week about the pig fence that got moved. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and I'm still not absolutely positive about what jurisdiction we have there because the farm regulations are different than the forest regulations. We don't have a state forester to go to ask those questions. So I'm going to be sending a letter to Thomas Castillo,
Oh, the new guy.
the new guy, and try to just get some confirmation on that. You know, if we have some jurisdiction so that we could track it or just say be careful, or if there's a person, it used to be under DCS, but it doesn't seem to be now, so, because I know they moved a lot of things in DCS around and gave them new names. So if there's a person we can talk to, I can also do that. I just wanted you to know I'm still thinking about it and pursuing it because I'm not. I think Andrew was right that, I mean, the rules are clear when they're putting in a new fence. They're moving a fence that's been moved back and forth over the years. I'm not sure because if you don't use a field for 5 years, but you use it right inside that 5-year mark, you start to use it again, it's okay. You can do everything you did there before. So it's a little bit hard to track whether they ever had a field that went past the stream. You are allowed, under some plans, to have your animals use the stream to drink in. So I have to admit, if I was a downstream neighbor, I would not be thrilled about that. So I want to see what jurisdiction we have.
No, when I drove by it, that's all front area. All grass.
It's growing up grass.
Let the pigs in there.
That implies they're not there, yeah, because if they're there, it looks like it's tilled.
Yeah, last year when I went over to the other one across the street, that big old pig that rose up from the ground. man, it
Yeah.
scared us.
They dig around in it with their
Yeah.
nose and they really till it up. Okay, anything else? All right.
Is there gonna be a site inspection before the 29th meeting?
No, we're going to go down individually and
Check it out.
to Oakland Street Conservation
Oh,
Area
yeah,
to
yeah.
see where they're putting in the bridge.
Yeah.
Melissa is going to put up markers for us so you can see where it's going to go. It's basically toward the, well, if you're going from Sessions, it would be toward the right end. If you're going from Oakland, it would be the left end.
It's way on the east side, so you're
East
almost,
side, okay.
you're almost looking at the backyards of the people
Yeah.
on Kelly
Okay.
Lane.
I know where.
So how will they get in there?
You either go in and back of my house at the dead end circle and walk the whole distance,
Okay.
If you
or
want to be closer, you go to Oakland.
if you want to be
Street.
closer, go to
There's a parking lot
Oakland.
there now? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over to Oakland and walk.
Yeah, we'll go in there and then drift to your left, take the trail to your left.
So basically, they're, where the crossing is now, they're going to close that. They're going to put fallen trees on the sides, and they're going to move it down the ways, kind of almost the same as Westbrook.
Yeah.
And move it down a ways to a better crossing and put in a wooden bridge that's anchored with rebar.
Right now, it's mostly logs and a few timbers people threw in the water, which is
It's not good.
not legal in any shape, way, or form.
See them all the time.
Okay, thank you, Bonnie.
Land is in Hampden, it's managed by.
Yes,
Yes,
it goes
yes,
back.
it's on our side of the border, but it goes back a long way. And it was in contention. It was going to be a development, and then it was left undeveloped. And then they said they would make it into a conservation area, but they didn't. And in the end, it took the representative,
Gail Candaris.
Gail
She was
Candaris.
the rep for Wilbraham, put a rider on a bill, and they, in effect, bought the builder out.
yeah,
But be-
yeah.
Well, the state bought
The state
it
did,
out.
but she's the representative for Wilbraham.
Wilbraham, so they wound up with the
She got
property.
it. She got it for Wilbraham. It was one of those interesting things.
So
But we co-manage it.
Comes up with this particular area, it's Wolverhampton management.
Yes,
Yeah, well, we co-manage it, so they always have to submit an application to us, and we also have to agree. So it gets co-managed, but watching it and submitting the RDAs and stuff, that's Melissa, who's the Wilbraham admin.
There's a whole trail system in there.
Yeah, I know.
It's really nice.
I haven't been back there often to check it out.
Sometimes they do a little story trail,
Yeah.
what they call it.
is that still there, or they take it out?
I haven't been in there for a while.
Because that was changed once already.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, little stop at little stations,
Yeah.
story in there.
So I think Bonnie sent around copies, but if she
Yeah,
didn't,
you all have a copy of their,
I'll forward it to you.
Yeah, it's good, it shows a picture of where the roads, that ranges go out.
Yeah. Okay, can I get a motion to close the meeting? Adjourn?
I'll make a motion, close the meeting.
Second.
The meeting is adjourned. Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, meeting's adjourned. At 6:30.
6:33.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My calculator. 34. Oh.